Hello and welcome to another Earth Science class with Mrs. Tessie. It is the last topic for the trimester, and of course, you know your exams draw near. So I hope you are getting ready, studying hard, so that you can come out in flying colors. So our topic for the week is humans and habitats. Right. I know we've treated habitats in our previous lessons, but in this class, we'll be learning how humans and habitats co-interact with one another in the ecosystem. Okay? You know what humans are. Of course, you are a human. So let's see what we will be learning. First, how do humans fit in the ecosystem? How do they fit? Humans populate most parts of the earth. True or false? Very true. Most parts of the earth, not every part, because of course there are some parts that humans cannot survive in. Areas with extreme temperatures, that is very high or very cold, very hot rather, or very cold temperatures, and in the middle of the sea, humans can't exist there. Have you heard of anybody that exists or lives or survives in water? It's not possible. Those stories of mermaids, well, they are just myth. They've not been proven true scientifically, right? So, effects of humans on habitat. We already know that humans populate the earth. Now, in populating the earth, they have effects, whether good or bad. Now, these effects could either be positive effects or negative effects. We'll be looking at both of these effects in this class. Which one do we start with? They say bad news come first. Okay, so let's start with the negative effects. One negative effect that humans have on the ecosystem or on the habitat is pollution. You will agree, right? What is pollution? Contamination of the environment. Whether air, land, water, contamination. As long as there is a contamination, then there is a pollution. We know that there are three main types of pollution. Of course, we also have noise pollution, but that's still grouped under air pollution. So now, specifically under air pollution, we're looking at the release of carbon monoxide gas from combustion of substances. You put on generators, as is the order of the day nowadays, since we hardly even get light from PHCN. And when our generators work, what happens? Fumes from the exhaust pipes are released into the air. You know what this now causes? We'll find out in our next slide. How about water and land pollution? Are they not important as well? Of course they are. Water is constantly being contaminated. You cannot drink water. Nowadays, you see that we keep purifying water. That's why we buy sachet water now and bottled water. Even the sachet water I hear is not really clean because some persons or companies go through dubious means to produce the water. So you see, the need for clear water is now becoming a problem because of constant contamination. How about land? Same thing, same order of the day. So now let's see what constant release of these fumes from generator pipes, exhaust pipes of vehicles, what they do to the environment. They cause what we call global warming. You might see like it is a good thing. Yes, the globe becomes warm. Everybody wants a warm environment, right? Not too hot, not too cold, just warm, right? Since we said it's a slow increase of the Earth's annual temperature and climate, but how about those that survive in very cold regions, like those in the Arctic and Antarctic pole, North and South pole? So what's going to happen to them? Some animals survive on this very cold weather to survive, like the polar bears. I taught you polar bears earlier that depend on ice. They build their home on ice. So because of this global warming, this ice continuously melt. So these animals, where do they now live? This is posing a threat to animals such as these. And if you notice nowadays, the weather is so hot. Before now, if you ask your parents, they'll tell you that in the olden days, the weather don't used to be as hot as it is right now. Even in the villages, the weather was cool because we had trees and others. But now there's pollution everywhere, so the weather is hot. Why? Because of global warming. The ozone layer is constantly being depleted, which is not good. So another negative effect of humans on our habitats is deforestation. And what is deforestation? It's the clearing of large areas of forest in order to build on the same patch of land. Let's say businesses, businesses, they always want the best areas for their businesses to thrive, which is very good. But in the process, they deprive us of our trees, right? So they cut down these trees so that they can construct their houses, their businesses, their factories, companies, and what have you. And so there is a disruption. If they cut down the trees and now plant trees somewhere else in replacement, it will be very good. But most times they don't plant trees in replacement because they feel the trees are not really important. But aren't they? Aren't trees homes to some animals like the monkeys, birds, some snakes? So you see, every living thing has a right to live and live peacefully. Overhunting and overfishing is another negative effect. There are regulations in some countries that prevent hunting and fishing during times when animals are breeding, which is very good. When animals are breeding, they're reproducing, they shouldn't be disturbed because they're trying to increase their number, right? But in some other countries, these regulations don't hold water. So they kill animals whether they are breeding or not breeding. And when hunting and fishing becomes more than the reproduction rates, then there is a problem. And what is the problem? The animal goes into extinction. They become endangered species. You keep hunting them for food. Let's say you have a poultry in your house. You keep killing the chicken, just because you want to eat meat. You keep killing them, but you don't replace. You don't breed new ones. A time will come, you have nothing to kill. True of us. That's what we're talking about. So those species become endangered species because they're gradually becoming extinct. Another wicked thing or negative effect that humans have on the habitat is they introduce invasive plants in animals. Now let me explain this. You see, naturally, plants and animals prefer some weather conditions to others, and as such, they thrive in those areas. For example, a plant that likes rainy weather, that likes water, it will definitely thrive in areas where there's high amounts of rainfall, right? While the one that likes hot weather, it will thrive in areas where there's high amount of sunshine. Now, let's say because of science, because of experiments, because humans are always up to something, one thing or the other, you now carry a plant that usually would thrive in a cold or in a humid environment. You can't put in a dry climate because you want to try out an experiment. Now, two things will happen. This is either the plants will not do well, or the plants will do very well and dominate. It will not overpower the other natural plants, the native plants that it found there. Okay, now, so after dominating other plants that it came to find there, what is the negative effect? Animals that also depend on those other plants, because this new one has come to dominate, they will not be having food to eat, and so they will die. So this is not good. Sometimes man can introduce a plant or an animal to an environment that they do not like, so they don't thrive well, like I already said. Now we are looking at the positive effects. We are done looking at negative effects. Let's look at some positive effects. And the first here is supporting endangered species. Some endangered species that we know, let me list them first. We have blue whales, Indian elephants, snow leopards, black rhinos, and leatherback turtles. Now these animals, now that we know that they're endangered, I beg your pardon, we should do all we can to keep them safe so they don't go extinct. And so governments have passed laws and regulations to prohibit hunting of endangered species. Also, some organizations breed endangered species in safe environments. Let's say they raise them in their baby stages until they are strong enough to survive on their own, and so then release them into the wild, which is very good. Replanting forests, another way you can positive effects of humans on their habitat. Many communities make sure that trees cut down by men for business are replaced through a process called reforestation. So while deforestation is a process whereby trees or forest is cut down, reforestation is a process whereby forest is grown or planted. Now, removing invasive plants and animals from ecosystems. Native plants are used to replace invasive plants and animals. All those experiments, bringing new plants, trying to... No, we don't do that anymore. We allow the native plants to thrive so that they can blend with their ecosystem. So I hope that you enjoyed this class, right? It was simple enough, well explained. I want you to attempt the quiz that follow because that will be a good test to know if you understood the class. Until our next class, I am saying thank you and goodbye.